What's up, party people? It is me, Coach Haley, and my buddy Ben coming at you from the Crag, Nashville today. We're talking about how to set up the Wellman rig so you guys can set it up without headache and help people with adaptive needs to climb in your rock climbing gym. I'm going to do a scan of our front wall and show you that I've selected a place that's a little bit overhung. Down here I have a couple of anchors set with steel carabiners and the rig attached to it. I want you to follow this black line. It's a semi-static rope coming down through the shuts right next to a top rope station. I like using static rope because it reduces the amount of give in the rope, and I put it through the shuts so there's basically no additional friction on the line, like where a double wrapped belay system would be. After I've thrown that figure eight on a bite, I'm going to start loading up my first pulley system. It's got two gold sides that do slide open or closed, but right there I'm throwing a screw gate carabiner through the figure eight on a bite and through the pulley system. Up next, I'm going to throw a second carabiner on the lower loop of the pulley. You'll notice that I've got numbers written on each one of the sides of the pulley system, and I do that to help me figure out where I go first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Right here I've got a second rope with a figure eight on a bite on it, and I'm taking the rope through the pin around the pulley and out the opposite end. From here we're going to string it back through that top pulley system on the opposite side. After we head back up to the first pulley system and thread it properly, it's going to come back on down to that second pulley system and thread through the second bit. This second bit has the captcha section, and this part's important because it helps capture and save the progress of the climber. Make sure that your rope goes through the pin, down by the teeth of the pulley system, and clicks closed. You'll notice that flat black slide there, and that's what's going to lock it on so it captures, or lock it off so you can re-elongate the rope. After I've threaded through the lower capture system, I'm going to head back up to the top to load it through my last little pulley system, and the rope will be facing down towards the ground. I've got that locking screw gate carabiner on top. Boom. I'll be sure to lock that closed. I'll lock everything closed before we start. The rope that we initially put up through the shuts at the top of the wall will have one end coming to the ground. That end will go through my rig. The rig's like a locking gree-gree. So it's gonna slide through just like a regular gree-gree, and then it's got a locking handle on it. So whereas it functions very, very similarly to a gree-gree, this one will lock close, and then you can put it in the first degree locking situation or the second degree locking position. I'll throw that carabiner on there and anchor it to the wall. From here, we're just going to pull, break, underslide like you would for any time you're taking up slack for a climber. This is to help re-elongate it between climbers. Okay, up next, we're finally heading over to the pulley system and we're about to re-elongate it. Remember that black slide I told you about? This is the part where you'll slide it up with your thumb, hold it in the upward position as you separate the two pulleys from each other. Separating these will allow the space between them for your climber to ascend. If your placement isn't quite right, or if your climber needs a little bit extra assistance, you can pull on that line right there and help them ascend. As I'm set to re-elongate the space between the two pulleys, I'm going to communicate with my belayer on the rig to make sure that we can alternate pulling the line. So he is going to pull, break, underslide, and then I will pull down on my side. Up next, I'm going to pop all four corners of my Wellman rig onto that lower locking carabiner. From here, I can pull a little bit of slack from the line and elevate it into a seated position. Boom, just like that. I like to use a seated office chair with armrests on it so my climber can make transitions a little bit easier. This one does have wheels on it, so if you have one without wheels, that's going to be even better. Remember how we put our semi-static line right next to a dynamic rope at a top rope station? So my climber is going to tie in with a figure eight, follow through into their harness, and they'll actually be belayed as they ascend up. This is a backup safety mechanism. So all in all, you'll need a few people on this. You'll need a belayer, you'll need someone to do the rig, and you'll need someone at the bottom to hold tension on that black static line as your climber progresses. When your climber's getting strapped into the seat, I want you to notice that there is a waist belt, there are 2 leg loops, and there's a chest harness as well. I recommend using all of them because it gives a little bit of extra support to your climber. Ben right there is pointing out that we have covered up the danger on each one of the buckles to make sure that the buckles are double backed. Right here I'm showing you the teeth on the ascender as well as the tube where the rope will slide through. So you'll put the rope into the rounded tube, make sure that the round part faces the climber, and then we'll snap it closed. Do not get your finger in there. Once you pop it onto the line, make sure to put it above the headline of your climber. You don't want those handlebars smacking them in the face. I throw a carabiner onto one of the anchor points up above just so it's not dangling in the way anywhere. After safety checks are complete, we're double checking all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the buckles. We're double checking that all of the carabiners are locked. We're double checking that our belayer is set up properly and the figure 8 follow through is set up properly. And we have our people in position to take the slack as our climber ascends. Way to go, Ben. Once your climber has completed the climb, it's going to take a little bit of communication between your belayer and your person on the rig to coordinate the descent. It's also super nice to have somebody help direct your climber back into the seat so they can be squared up nicely. When they do finally land in the seat, make sure that too much slack isn't put into the system to the point that the Wellman halo will come down onto their shoulders. Keep it nice and taut for just a moment. Lastly, we'll throw that ascender back up above head level, or you can go ahead and take it off. High five, everybody. Well done. Job complete. Way to go!